Peace and blessings, Vibe Tribe. It's on once again. It's going up. EY Pele movement. We focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. Every Sunday and Thursday, we go live, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. We focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. And today we're going to deal with what God are you serving? That's right. What God are you serving? Some people may get mad. Some people may be glad. Whichever way it may go, hey, that's just the way the spirit flow. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Yes, indeed. We want to thank you all so much for your love and support. Please make sure you follow us on Instagram. Remember, we have a private group on Facebook. And again, we're here just to share our personal experiences. We're not the end all be all. Okay. We just like to share with you information that has helped us to evolve, to transition from religiosity to spirituality. My wife and I have found that the information that we're sharing with all of you has been of benefit to us. It has broken the chains free off of our minds. Okay, once upon a time, not long ago, we thought the same way, just like some of you think right now, or some of you are still going through that transitioning of being purged from the teachings that we have been taught since we were children, even up into our adulthood, right? We was raised that way. So we get it. We fully understand it. We had to go through the same purging process. It takes time. My wife and I have been walking this path for years. So you can have a backdrop on us for those of you who just started tuning in. And for those of you who have been following us for some time, you already know. I'm a former bishop. My wife, additionally, she's a former elder. With both of us having a backdrop in Christianity. My wife had went to college, okay, for her to get her degree in the theological studies. And I myself personally went to a school of theology as well, okay. And I have been preaching since I was 20 years old, all the way up until the age of roughly around 38 years old. Okay, so that's about almost a total of 20 years. I taught Sunday school. I taught the youth and adults. Okay, my wife did conferences. She had a platform that was expanding, and I tell you, man, it definitely amazes us too that we're talking like this today. We said never, no, never as well, but listen, we found out through our own research. Okay, we didn't go by what grandma said, what grandpa said, what auntie said, what our leadership said. We went straight to source. We went straight to the divine. We did our own historical research. We did linguistical research. Okay, so all of these things conglomerated together has got us to this point where we are today. Okay, so we went to the beginning. Spirit told my wife, go to the beginning. Spirit told me, go to beginning. And that's exactly what we did. And the beginning, okay, has got us where we are at today. Okay, Queen, it's time for you to bless the mic. So you go ahead on and bless the mic, my queen.
Everyone, I just want to thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for taking out your time just to stop by. I want to give thanks to the Creator, to the Divine, to my husband, and all of my, children in our support system. I just want to give you thanks. My husband, you took out the half of what I had to say already, as usual. I just want to he gave some introduction of me due to the gravity of what we have to share tonight. I just wanted to give a little more background on myself so that you can, understand through the lenses at which I speak. I have been in religion or spirituality for over 40 years. And I was raised in Pentecostal church. I was the armor bearer, the minister, just like my husband was saying, leader on the board, and the list goes on. I have a bachelor's in Christian education from Trinity Theological Seminary of South Florida. I was ordained minister twice, once through the seminary school and once through the Christian organization that I belong to. I had been trained in spiritual warfare and was named the head intercessor. They called me a minister of prayer and intercession. I also attended Kingdom University, where Dr. Nancy or Cindy Trim was my dean and my leader at that time. She, in a sense, kind of ordained me or laid hands on me in the area of prayer and spiritual warfare at that time. I also attended a Catholic university, Holy Cross University, where I studied religion and spirituality for 2 years. I was also the founder of a spiritual women's group, Soul Sisters Women's Empowerment Network. And I also attended a School of the Prophets. Not only that, I was a dean of the School of the Prophets. Excuse me, honey, I just have to get this out. After leaving spirituality, I went and started my journey again. And that's where I began to study the Ifa Orisha studies, African spirituality, and the Yoruba language with Ashe Ari, where Iya Funlayo is a facilitator. And I also attended and studied Ifa Orisha's spiritual system at the School of Orisha Studies under Baba Abafemi. So I just wanted to get that out. Now with all that being said, you can understand, where I'm coming from. You can understand the background that we have. He spoke of it. Let's just give you a little bit more insight into, our studies. So our last session, we discussed knowledge and the importance of the knowledge of self and how important it is to purge spiritually, physically, and mentally by fasting, meditation, and supplication. We said that having knowledge would empower us and cause us to activate the gifts on the inside of us. Education in ancient Kemet was an invocation to go within to find the creator. That's what we discussed on last week. But today, in episode number 3, whose God are you serving? We will be coming from a Twa, Kush, Kemetic, ancient Egypt, and Yoruba perspective. We're going to analyze and distinguish between which God we are serving. We are also going to show you today that Africans in America and the colonizers could not possibly be serving nor worshiping the same God. I'm going to say that again. We're going to show you that Africans in America and the colonizer could not possibly be serving nor worshiping the same God. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you, and then you can write in the comments, whose God are you serving? Put in the comment section whatever you want to say. I want to know, whose God are you serving? The former enslavers, the colonizers, and gaslighters have written and taught your entire history to you. Just about everything that you've been taught has been a lie and rewritten to favor them. When the oppressor and the oppressed share the same God or Savior, there is something wrong with this equation. When you are worshiping and the same God and Savior of your oppressor, is something wrong with this. There was false doctrine. Their God and they forced their doctrine and their God and their religion on us. Religion is a system of control based on unchallenged dogmatic beliefs, which holds back the progress of your consciousness, meaning that this religious box that we're placed on is holding us back. There are greater areas that we are to go. There's higher heights. You see what I'm saying? There's deeper depths. There's higher knowledge. There's different dimensions. There are different realms. And because we're in the confounds of a certain belief system, we're unable to ascend in the way that we're supposed to ascend. It is far from the spiritual system of our ancestors. It is practically required that you reduce upwards to 90% of yourself to conform to this dogma and to this doctrine. We have so many people right now that are suffering mental issues because of the doctrine and the dogma that has been put forth by some of these religious systems and by some of these colonizers, and we don't know that this thing has been forced on us and that we're made to do something that we are less likely to be able to do, and we can't live with ourselves. In the system we were raised in, we were taught to look up to the gods and the deities of those that looked like our colonizers. This was done but deliberately to indoctrinate our minds and subconsciously infiltrate and wreck our very DNA. We're going to get into that. All of this has created a form of menticide. As soon as okay, next slide. Bobby Wright, a psychologist, describes menticide as the deliberate and systematic destruction of a person's or a group's mind, which may give a clue, he said, which may give a clue to why the Black race, after developing such an advanced civilization, talking about ancient Kemet, where our ancestors were, we developed this advanced civilization and has for the last 400 years been assisting it in its own destruction and nearly total subjugation of Africa by foreign invaders. We're assisting this now. We're assisting them to tear down our very civilization. You understand what I'm saying? We had an advanced civilization. What happened? We were advanced in all types of areas, physiology. I mean, we were totally advanced. What happened? What happened to the people? And most African people in America are not aware that our minds were tampered with as a result of our forced capture and enslavement in America. I mentioned DNA earlier, right? And when I refer to DNA, I'm referring to epigenetics. And this is the study of how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes are. The traumatic situations that you go through, right? They affect the way that your genes are, the way you think. You know what I'm saying? The trauma that we have endured over the years. Nobody's not talking about this. Nobody took us to the psychologist and say, we need to work this thing out of you. You understand what I'm saying? We're still dealing with trauma in our very cells and in our very DNA. And I submit to you that this trauma that has been passed down has produced a new kind of African in America. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the trauma that we have experienced, it has been passed down, and that we have been groomed by our colonizer. They not only have they taken our land, but they've taken our very identity right down to the genome level. You understand what I'm saying? It is time that we put a stop to what has happened to us physically and mentally. The trauma cannot go down another generation. So I got to share with you another psychologist, and Dr. Kobe Kabone is known as the father of Black African psychology, said, we need to appreciate the knowledge, the arts. Listen to me carefully. We need to appreciate the ethics, the science, the philosophy, and the spirituality from our own culture. And it's like from our own cultural common sense and perspective. We have got to appreciate this from our own perspective. How you doing, Marcia? From our own perspective, from the perspective of our ancestors, from its perspective from the land which we came. In order for we Africans to escape and heal ourselves from this virtually unbelievable predicament of pervasive mental disorder, we must rebuild our African cultural infrastructure throughout the diaspora and the African communities. In other words, we must reverse the menticidal process and its deliberate and systematic destruction. Whew, that was a lot. That's just something. Thank you, Dahlia, breaking the cycle. You see, that's just something that we need to sit on. We need to think about these things. You know what I'm saying? We need to care about our nieces and our nephews and our children and the rest of them that's going on. I mentioned last week that they were trying to take our education. They were trying to snuff out who we were. They don't want anybody to know who we are. They don't want us to know who we are. You understand? We have got to. We have got to, and I hate to say this, we're running out of time. We have got to educate those around us. We cannot be ashamed of where we come from and who we are. You understand what I'm saying? So, we're discussing whose God are you serving today? And for me, God is boundless. God is an unknowable force, huge. It's not a man. It is not a man. The finite human cannot encompass or comprehend the divine. Don't even try it. You can't comprehend who God is. There are many names of God. They call him God, the Creator, Jehovah, Ra, Jah, Olodumare, the Great Spirit, the Mother, Father, God, Allah, Buddha, the Divine, El, Yahweh, Source, and this God here, Ptah. Now, the slide that we're looking at right now is Ptah, the great creator God of ancient Kemet. And this is, if you want to put something on your wall, right? If you want to put a God on your wall, put someone that looks like you. You understand what I'm saying? Because the mental impact it has on the individual for seeing a God or a being that doesn't look like them, it causes issues, right? This is a handsome man. I don't see why he couldn't blend in with what you got going on over there. Ptah is the Kemetic creator God who conceived the world according to their mythology. And now, let me back up. Like I said, mythology. This God was not walking around doing stuff, okay? This is how they describe what they were feeling in the universe. He conceived the world and brought it into being through the created power of speech. We heard this before. And he spoke before any religion was ever created, right? So if anybody talking about what was spoke and what was not spoken and all of these things like that, they probably got it from this ancestor right here. Just a second. So the creator, he was the creator, and is revealed as the will, the heart, the and intent, the tongue, and the command. The heart was the thought, mind, and intentions of the creator. The tongue was the word, the voice, the expression, and speech of the Creator. The heart and tongue was the Word made flesh, the coming into being, and the process of becoming, right? This Creator God from ancient Kemet was originally, he was a part of the Trinity. This Creator had a wife, right? The two were one that represented the divine masculine and divine feminine. Now, I'm going to throw something at you right now. Christianity, the God El and Yahweh had a wife too, until the patriots wrote her out of the Bible, snatched her off the Trinity, and told you that she was evil. I digress. I'm saying to you that the Christian God, El and Yahweh, also had a consort that was snuffed out of the Bible. I'll leave that right there. In Kemet, our ancestors believed in one Creator, being male and female simultaneously. This Creator threw out parts of himself or herself and manifested his or her image in all things that he created. All creations were images of the divine Creator. Each creation had his or her own divine purpose and unique specialty. The vine is not some man of no color with a long gray beard sitting in the sky. That is totally incorrect. The divine is neither female nor male. So away with this stuff that God is a man. You understand what I'm saying? Neither female nor male. In the Yoruba culture, going on to the Yoruba culture. Oh, forgot to tell you that Ptah, the god Ptah, he's so bad that he shows up in the Oscars. I would go through everything that he has and what it stands for, but they took your ancestors' God and gave it away at the Oscars as an award. You understand what I'm saying? This is how much this particular a deity was worshipped and well known till the Europeans took it in order to give their awards away. Now, in the Yoruba culture, Olodumare is the spiritual source from which all other things come. Anything in the manifest and unmanifest world is rooted in Olodumare. Olodumare may be considered the divine spark of consciousness that perpetuates all life. Listen, the reason I'm showing you these different deities and these different gods, because there's other alternatives out there besides what we've been taught and what we've been bullied into. Now, listen, so you can know the position of some of these, of what our ancestors call gods, or what have you. You understand what I'm saying? Olodumare, however, is not called for every human need. And see, I think that's where we mess up at. We think that God is this Superman in the sky who swoops down at our every beckoning cry. Listen to this. Olodumare, he don't even come to your every human need. The Ifa verse, Ira Osa, explains a time when everyone was coming to Olodumare begging to be saved. Olodumare responded that we were given everything we need to excel on this planet. It's on the inside of us. Everything that we need to excel on this planet is already on the inside of us. He said, but those whom I have given the ability do not use their ability. Those that have been given wisdom do not use the wisdom that I have given them. So there's no need to continue to call for answers and savings when we have the tools to the answers. So Olodumare cast a cloth over the world so that people would be forced to learn how to use the gifts and resources that they were given. And again, Olodumare also is neither male nor female, right? So I just wanted to give you the perspective of the gods of some of our ancestors, right? Point number one, He's not some no-color man in the sky with no beard that looked like the colonizer, right? Their God was neither male nor female, right? And they had a scientific understanding and a spiritual understanding of the divine. So now we're going to get on to the God of the colonizer. And it's something that I need to clear up right quick when it comes down to the colonizer. I want to let you know that we are not Gentiles. We were told in our Christian doctrine that we were Gentiles. It's not even in the doctrine. I don't know who started preaching this, and it caught on and it caught fire. And they told us, dark-skinned people, that we were Gentiles and that we were adopted and that we were engrafted in, that basically we were outsiders. We are not Gentiles and we are not adopted. But I am going to tell you who are the Gentiles. That I am going to tell you before I get on with the other things. The Gentiles were and are the Europeans, right? Genesis 10, 2 through 5, the Japheth, Gomer and Magog and Madai and Javan and Tubal and Meshach and Tyrus, and the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz and Rephath and Tagorah, and the sons of Jovan was Elishas and Tarshish and Kittim and Dodanim. But these were the isles of the Gentiles. These are the Gentiles, right? I don't see Egypt in there. I don't see Canaan in there. I don't see Al-Kibalon or Africa in there. All I see is a list of European countries, and these European countries are the Gentiles, which means that we are not Gentiles. We have Gomer, which were the Celts and the Galatians. We have Russia on here. We have the Greeks. We have Germany. We have the Caucasus. We have Turkey. We have all of these different places and all of these different lands that are the Gentiles, but somebody lied to us and told us that we were the Gentiles. So I just wanted to clear that out before I go on to the next slide. This is the Savior. I call it the Savior and his maker. Here we got, Mr. Jesus and Constantine. And you see Jesus, he has certain hand signals that he's doing, as above, so below. You see this halo around his head, which is the sun, which lets you know that he's a sun god. And you see all of his garb and everything. That's the God that we're to worship according to our colonizer. And it's been embedded in our head and in our DNA that we should look up to this type being. This type being was created by Constantine in 325 AD. And this is Constantine, they say the Great. And as you can see in the top right-hand corner, he has a cross there. And that cross, he said, by this sign we shall conquer. And under the banner of Christianity, or the banner of God, he went throughout nations, just slowing and slicing and killing up folk. Under the banner of Christianity, because he saw this cross allegedly. You see what I'm saying? And this is the very same God that we're told that we are to worship, and that we are to be subject to. Let me tell you something. The God of the colonizer here in America, that so many of our people hang on to, this is the God that our ancestors were forced to bow to. They demonized our gods and spiritual system, then they stole it for themselves. Their God allows the colonizer to lie, to show up after church and lynch, rape, pillage, steal, murder, embarrass, jail, discriminate, humiliate, feed children to alligators, boil our ancestors, skin them alive, decapitate them, participate in shadow slavery, overthrow the government, spread diseases, and more. Their barbaric ways have kept a people oppressed, but they pray and worship the same God as you. How could that be? How can that be? How could their God also be answering our prayers? How could that be? This is the God they gave us to bow down to. This is their God. This is the same God that allows us to be at the bottom with their foots on our neck. One songwriter said in the Black National Anthem that may we forever stand true to our God and true to our native land. It's time to get back to the God of our ancestors. It's time to get back to that spiritual system that lets you know that there's God on the inside of you and that you are powerful. It's time to reattach yourself back to the gods and the systems that raised our ancestors up. Some say that Christianity was already in Africa. That's fine. But was it already in the Americas when they brutally mutilated the Native Americans, which was also from Africa and other continents? Was it already here? Do you follow me? I don't care if it was already in Africa before we got here. Was it here? When Columbus got here through the doctrine of discovery, he said that this land is a non-Christian land. So now fill up everybody because we want to force them to be Christians. Do you follow me what I'm saying? One nation under which God? Huh? Which God? One thing that I learned as an intercessor and that one that was trained in spiritual warfare is there is a such thing as territorial spirits. There is a such thing as spirits that hover over different places, right? And there is a spirit that is hovering over the West. And it is a religious spirit that allows the followers to do inhumane things. And then after they're done, I don't even know if they ask for forgiveness or not. Different cultures have different gods. Different cultures have different ways of living and things to look up to. And we've been forced to participate in a culture that does not have our best interests in mind. You know, I've read over and over and over again in the Bible where it says that I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know, and I just thought about that again. I said, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There was a specific God assigned to a specific people. And with this specific God and this specific people, there was a relationship of purpose and promise which was fixed for all those that descended from them. What does that mean? It means that your ancestors had a way of worship and a spiritual system that was powerful enough to help them to tap into mathematics, physiology, science, medicine, and the list goes on. Their spiritual system made and kept them strong morally, intact for generations and generations. There has been a breach and a disconnect in this system due to the barbaric ways of the colonizer, and it's time for us to get our spiritual system back. It's time for us to elevate in our mindset. It's time for us to go to another level. And I submit to you that one of the reasons that we cannot advance is because we have been cut off from the God of our native land. For thousands of years, our history has been transferred down through oral tradition, through folklore, and through myths. Do we not know that God can speak in other ways besides through a mistranslated book? God has been talking thousands and thousands and thousands of years. I mean, we have a point where if it ain't in this book, although this book was made X amount of hundreds of years ago, if it don't fit today, then God didn't say it. We are missing out on our lives. We're missing out on our purpose. We're missing out on our destiny simply because we have boxed ourselves in. God is bigger than this. He's bigger than all of this. He, she, it, bigger than all of this. And God did not write that Bible. I'm going to say that God didn't write that Bible. He didn't mistranslate it. So my suggestion to you is to get in a place where you can meditate, where you can hear from the divine for yourself for this hour, for this time, and this dispensation. We need you to elevate. We need you to go to different dimensions. We need you to elevate in different dimensions in your thought process. We need you to elevate in different dimensions in what you say. We need you to come up higher. It is time. Now, ever since we've been cut off from our native land, from the placenta of our mother, our identity, and our true God power, we have been out of place and uncomfortable. Let me tell you this short story. Not too long ago, me and my husband, went to Rochester, New York, and we walked up on a man that was fishing. The young man didn't like eating and cleaning the fish. He just liked catching them and taking them out of the natural elements of the water. Once he brought the fish up, they would gasp for air and flop around because they were out of their element. That fish could have never adjusted to being on dry land. That fish could have never adjusted to walking around. And even if he did try to adjust to walking around, he would still look like a fish. I can imagine the fish saying that I can't breathe, throw me overboard. I want to go back in peace. I want to go back to the waters of where the other fishes that look like me are. I want to go back to the place where I can get the nutrients that I need. You understand what I'm saying? And in my closing, I just want to say that we need to reconnect. Do your research. Find out what you need to find out. Find out what you need to find out about the spiritual system. We need you to be meditating. We need you to be, as we said last week, we need you to be, let me see what they said last week in our lesson. That you need to be meditating, fasting with supplications, gaining education and knowledge, and transforming your life, transforming your DNA. They did a number on us. It changed our very DNA in some cases. And like I said, we are turned into a different African that have been groomed by the colonizer. We're not the same African as our ancestors, but we have to get back so we can change our DNA back to the place that it belongs. So, and that's it. I'm going to have Bakari to go ahead and do the closing. I thank you guys for coming out, for spending your time, for getting this knowledge or what have you. I see Daisy. I see you said netter, right? Because I was gonna talk about the netter and the netteroo or what have you, but I didn't. But those are different aspects of the divine. There are principles in nature. Thank you. And Dahlia, I see you say breaking the cycle, the generational curse. It's true. Mila, Renee, et cetera, et cetera. I just thank you guys because we're not saying to you, don't be spiritual. We're just trying to tell you to recognize. We're not telling you don't praise and do all the things that our Africanness always do. A lot of this stuff that is associated with the religion that we came up with, it came from our African spiritual system anyways. We brought it with us. So I'm not telling you, and we're not telling you to go somewhere and be without knowledge. We're saying just consider, go fast, go pray, go do what you need to do, go do your research to find out the difference, because we cannot possibly be serving the same God and praying to the same God that's answering their prayers to be barbaric and not answering our prayers. You see what I'm saying? So go ahead, Mr. Bakari.
Well said, my queen. Greetings to our son, Raheem. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. I know you may see Stone Cold Steve Austin out there, but that's obviously not our son. The one behind it, the name, no, that's our son. Raheem, thank you for tuning in, son. Peace and blessings to you. Good sister said, we birthed civilization. Love and blessings. Love and blessings to you too, Sister Marcia. We greatly appreciate it. So, family, thank you so much for tuning in, of course, to your Iwa Pele movement program, the spiritual decolonization series, where we're focusing on doing exactly that. It's time, of course, to get back to who and what we are. And the person that you see in the mirror is not who you really are. Okay, you're a spiritual being having human experience, and we have to get back to that. We're not here to make you feel good. We're here to bring deliverance and healing. Okay, and if you feel good after that, all praises be. We give thanks. But we have to get to the root and uproot these things. And one thing about myself, I have a background as a substance abuse control officer, and the first step to deliverance is you admitting that you have a problem. Okay. And I believe that we all can come to a consensus that the African family in its totality throughout the diaspora has this problem, and that we have been detached from who and what we are. And it's time for us to go back to that which we have been cut off from, not lost, because you can't misplace your culture. No, we was cut off from that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to focus on reconnecting us to what we are. I want you to think about this very quickly before I close. Why is that for those of you who listen to us? Why is it that some of you are upset at what we're saying? I want you to think about that. If you are an African in America, or an African that's not located on the continent of Africa, throughout different parts of the world, and if you are an African that's on the continent of Africa, I want to ask you the question again. Why does these type of teachings make you upset? When you are the victim of colonization. And although I may not be a Christian, again, I love the story about Moses, when he was sent to deliver the people. And for anybody who know the story, the people got mad at Moshe because the oppressor started punishing them because of Moshe. Because Moshe was coming and stirring up trouble against the enemy. And so the enemy started to attack the people. Is that some of you? Are some of you upset because the colonizer is going to fight against you, is going to push back? because of these type of teachings, because you associate yourself with individuals like us? Why aren't you mad with the one who is oppressing you? Why aren't you upset with the one who's trying to keep you from going forward, all because of what ethnicity you are? Why aren't you upset with the one that has detached you from who and what you are, and to the point where even your great grandparents, your grandparents, your elders in the family don't even know exactly where they come from? I'm gonna ask you again, why aren't you upset with that person? Why are you upset with the one that's sent to liberate you? Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate you all for tuning in. We love you all. And sometime the truth, like our good sister, I was just getting ready to say that. I was just getting ready. I promise you, I was just getting ready to say that. If the truth hurts, say ouch, because we're going to tell it the way that it is. It's time for you, African, to come back to your senses. That's why my name has changed, because I released the name of not my slave master, because they're not our slave masters. I released the name of the colonizer. I didn't have no parts to do whatsoever, no more parts to do whatsoever with the Eurasian name. It was Alton D. Walden III. You can look at me and tell I'm not a European. I'm not Welsh, and I'm not English, because my middle name was Welsh. My first and last name prior to me taking back my identity was Old English and English. I'm neither one of those. So I'm not concerned about the colonizer not accepting me, because my name is Bakari Jambor, which is my Mende. And then why is it that too, and we're going to end here, why is it that too, that when the African person has to come over here, if this is the land of the free, then why do they have to give up their African name? And the hush come over the crowd. I'm gonna ask you this again. If it's the land of the free, why does the African person have to renounce their African name and take on the colonizer name? All right. Stay tuned in every Sunday, Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be live. We're going to be live and direct on the set. And for those who want to be set free, those who want to get back to who and what they are, to knowing themselves spiritually, your higher self, stay tuned. We love and appreciate you. Once again, our sister said something to think about. Our daughter said, drop the mic.
Marcia out there. I know that's right, sis.
Ain't nothing free about this country.
I know that's right, sis. Who they tricking? They ain't tricking me.
Well,
thank you all for coming. I see these beautiful women and these beautiful ladies. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for being a part of it. And I just thank it. Like I said, that you thought it not robbery to tune in and to join us. And we appreciate you. Hopefully you got something out of it, that you just like, I believe it was Sister Miller, one of them, that said it's something to think about. Something to think about. You also, you can replay this as many times as you need to replay it. It's going to be out there if they don't take it down, but it's going to be out there either on Facebook or YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll let Bakari say that. But we're trying to, the time has shortened, and we're trying to let as many people know as possible, as we're going up to a bunch of twists and turns within, especially this country. There's some stuff, and there's some people that's still being bamboozled and flim-flammed, and they don't understand it, and they don't understand, you know, the people that we're dealing with. So this is not racist. We just want you to be aware. We want you to be aware.
Exactly. Sister Mala said, we thank you both. You're welcome, good sister. And Sister Marcia, she said, great discussion, classmate. Love it. Greatly appreciate your assistance on this evening, sisters. The queens are always there. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about that too.
Yes, we are. I got you, queens.
We need the feminine
I got to
energy.
come with the truth.
We need the feminine energy. We got Mayat. We got Aset. We got Yemoja. We got Yemeya. We got Oya. Oh man, I'm gonna leave it right there. We need the feminine energy. We need the feminine energy. Okay, with that being said, family, we are going to drop the mic, and we'll see you on Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, Facebook Live. You don't want to miss it. We have a good sister coming on, my good Gullah Geechee sister. My wife is Gullah Geechee too. And she is going to come on and share her spiritual journey. So please join us on Thursday as we bring individuals on that has experienced the supernatural. We got to stop being afraid of it, because every day you deal with the supernatural. You just don't know it.